Alafia. I'm Dr. Gloria L, Peace, host and producer of OmniU Presents the H3O Art of Life show. And we're out on a date again, as you can probably tell. We're not in the studio. We are at Nicole Gallery. And Nicole is having a very special event tonight, and I want her to tell us what it is we're going to see and experience.
Oh, welcome, Dr. Peace. Tonight we are having a very special event, and that event is really we have an auction, and part of the auction, part of the fund will be given to Dr. Peace for her organization to support OmniU. And so that's why we are here today. So we welcome you. If you want to come, if you still have time to come, please do come.
You know, the interesting thing is that you have all of these artists represented in this in your gallery, and I have never seen as many works, I don't think, in one place as I'm seeing here tonight. Who are some of the artists that you have represented here tonight, Nicole?
Some of the artists that I have represented here tonight, first, most of them are gallery artists, but I have some guest artists like André Guichard, Jason Jones, Deborah Hand. Deborah Hand is not just a guest. She was part of my show entitled Consciousness and Conditions that we featured
on
16 women artists in March. And then I have Alan Stengfellow, Fritz Milvois, I have
Jan Spivey
Gilchrist, William Carter, my Catherine Flynn from Indiana, and many more. And the works are, and all the Shona sculptors are represented. So it's really a magnificent thing to see today, because we are giving away works.
Well, I tell you, it's a wonderful concept to have this auction of all of this beautiful work. But if there's any work left, would anyone be able to come down and purchase after today?
Oh, absolutely. The gallery is here.
The gallery is here.
and it's here to stay.
And it's here to stay, and it
doing
has
its
beautiful work all of the time.
Yes.
It has beautiful work in it. This is the home of Alan Stringfellow, isn't it?
The home of Alan Stringfellow, the home of Fritz Milvois, the home of Ife Enwa. You know, in fact, Fritz Milvois and Ife will be featured this month, starting tomorrow until the 8th of July.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nicole. We're looking forward to this evening's event, and we hope that we do well, because OmniU is the show that advocates for art, for artists, for the underserved. And we are happy to have Nicole Gallery take up the cause and do something to help us continue to do our work.
It's my privilege to do so, because you've been so gracious to me. And, you know, life is supporting one another. And, you know, I cannot be selfish, because you've been so gracious to us. So we want to help you and support your cause also.
Well, I thank you so much, and I'm sure that my viewers thank you, because you will be contributing to a very worthy cause.
Well, that's just the beginning.
Of course it's the beginning, because we have something that we're going to collaborate on in August, and we'll be back on to talk about that.
Absolutely.
All right.
I look forward to that one.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So we are going to have a great, successful evening.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm here now with Patience Steen, and I'm glad to be here with Patience Steen, because I actually saw her work at the Chicago Renaissance when she was there with a show that was produced by Melvin King, another renowned artist. And she was there. She had this beautiful, marvelous stained glass. We don't have any here tonight to show you, but hopefully we'll find her in a show again soon. and then we'll be able to show you what this young lady can do. Tell me how you got started doing it.
I started in '98, just being bored at home, and took one of my kids' coloring book and started coloring and held it up to the light, and I said, well, I can start doing stained glass. And from there I started working with plexiglass and creating the same effect that you get with stained glass, and it just grew and started doing my own designs.
And now you represent yourself, and
Yes.
you appear in shows. What's the next show you expect to be in?
Oh my God, not at this present.
Okay, what was the last show then?
I just did something on the west side with the about 2 weeks ago with oh my God, at the pod district for my community.
Okay.
At the
Don't worry about it. You did it on the west side,
Yes.
and it had something to do with the Park District.
Right.
That's all we need to know. So you are a busy lady.
Yes.
Are you also employed? Or
Yes.
You
I'm
employed?
yes.
Okay. So you do art as a vocation, as a hobby, as a what is it for
It's
you?
a release and it's a love, you know.
It's a love,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, you know,
Love
I've
to do
seen
that.
artists whose love for art has overtaken them, so be careful. If you keep fooling around with it long enough, you might not be able to go to that job.
They work me hard.
Okay. Well, thank you,
break.
Patience.
Okay then.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I spend a lot of time with this young man, pretty much because I've sort of adopted him as he has me, and you know him. This is Andre Gouchard. He is curator for the Fine Arts Gallery at the South Shore Cultural Center, and he is here at Nicole Gallery tonight. He has a piece in the show, maybe one?
4.
You have 4. He has 4 pieces in the show, and they will be auctioned off, and a part of the proceeds will come to our nonprofit organization, OmniU. And this is another reason why, in addition to the fact that Andre is a great artist, he is also a great humanitarian and contributes to a number of worthy causes. I remember when you did Art Against AIDS.
Very, very nice event. And I can't, sorry to interrupt you, but I can't say enough about how happy I am to be able to contribute to this event. OmniU has touched and graced many of our homes with dates to special places at special times with special people, opening your eyes to, of course, the art of life and culture, and exposing you to a variety of artists. And I can't say enough in terms of just what she has done for my own career, several artists that I know's career, and how she also helps collectors see that there are so many treasures available to them. And for that I say thank you, Dr. Peace.
And that was a paid political advertisement. But, Andre, I am proud to say that OmniU advocates for artists, for art, and for the underserved. And so our program is dedicated to history and culture, to health and nutrition. And those are the things that actually give us vitality as a people and as human beings. And so to have others recognize this work is valuable, and to do things and do very practical, concrete things that support the work, encourages me to continue to do this work. And certainly you could just be the successful artist that you are, and no one would blame you for not giving to the worthy causes. But I think that probably the fact that you do that does contribute to your success.
I agree. I want to say that giving and us coming together, whether in the arts as we have done or anywhere in life that we can, is really the answer and the key to us all having our own success. It's a kind of synergy that happens when you work together, and we're all islands. No matter how great we are, there's a limit to the success we can attain. But when we start working together and utilizing our task specialization that we individually hold, the world is ours and our limits are endless. So I think that's just another way of how the arts reflect life, and what we're doing is just something that I think really helps everyone, and what you're doing helps everyone as well.
Well, thank you so much, Andre. We'll see you later on tonight when your pieces come up for auction.
Thank you.
All right,
It's
thank
great
you.
talking to you.
All right. I have Jason E. Jones here with me. I have Jason E. Jones with me a lot because Jason E. Jones is one of my favorite people. In fact, I have given him a new name. I took the A out and I called him J Son, meaning that he is my son Jay. And I send him emails and tell him things that I would only tell to my own children. And Jason is a very fine artist. I mean, a very fine artist. He does a lot of work in gold leaf, and now he's working in silver leaf. And his imagination is boundless. I can't say enough to praise you, and I'm sure you don't want to praise yourself, so I'm going to ask you to praise the collaboration that you have been engaging in along with Andre Gouchard. You all have done a piece together that just startled me. It was so beautiful.
It was actually a piece we decided to do before we went to Philadelphia. We had a show out there, and we just wanted to do something special and show that artists can come together as one and create something beautiful. So we decided to split the canvas up and do what we do best.
And that's another thing. You know, a lot of artists are in one way or another prima donnas. They are isolated from other people, especially other artists. There's a lot of rivalry and competitiveness in that particular field. But to find a group of artists, you and Andre among them, working together and actually creating together is so refreshing. And I love your work. I love the musical scales. Whenever I see the musical scales, I know, especially in combination with the gold leaf, I know there's nobody but Jason.
Well, I started doing the musical notes because a lot of images that we see, a lot of paintings that we see, have the instrument. And I guess me as a instrument player in high school, I used to play flute in high school marching band, and I can't play the instrument now, but I still have the fascination for the reading and writing, the science behind it, and that's where you see in my work where you see the composition and the music notes and things like that, more so than the instrument. So.
And you have also been kind and generous to donate. How many pieces do you have in this show?
I have 3 pieces.
You have 3 pieces in this show.
And one of them is a musical piece.
And one of them is a musical piece. And the wonderful thing about all of this is that part of the proceeds will go to OmniU, and OmniU can then in turn continue to support artists such as yourself.
Oh, and I appreciate that because just the love that I get from people seeing me on your show is just fabulous. So
I'm glad.
It's just the exposure that you've been able to give us, myself, Andre, and all of the other artists that you shoot. It's just wonderful. So.
Well, thank you so much, and we are going to collaborate even further because in August we are going to produce a really big show, a really great
I'm excited about that show.
And I'm excited about working with you. I'm excited about having people who genuinely support worthy causes because I saw you at Art Against AIDS. I know you contribute to charitable causes on a regular basis. And I know that has a benefit to you as well as to the organizations that receive your donations.
It's a win-win for everybody. Giving to organizations, in return, we always get something back. So it's kind of a win-win where I'm giving, but I'm also getting back. So I have to do that. You have to give and you have to receive. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for giving here tonight. I'll be here to receive and be happy to. Thank you so much, Jason E. Jones. Now, we have told you already that we are here at Nicole Gallery, that this is an auction, and what would an auction be without an auctioneer? And this is a famous auctioneer, Joel Langer, and he's going to tell us what he's going to do, and he's going to tell us what he has done, and maybe even tell us some more things he's going to do in the future.
Well, let me tell you something.
Okay.
Number one, this is my first auction ever. I had met Nicole. She said she wanted to do an auction, and you know what? I'm 56. I decided to have a little change of professions. No, I've been doing charity auctions for 30 years
I know it.
in Chicago, and they're always fun because, as you can see here, the crowd everybody's here to have a good time. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to expose some of these terrific artists that a lot of these people have never seen. And they're going to put it in their homes and enjoy it forever. And we're going to raise money for what organization? OmniU. That's right. So it's win-win for everybody. Somebody gets a lovely painting at home, excuse me for bumping it. And hopefully your organization will make some good money.
And I thank you for being here, and I know you're going to do a good job, and I'm going to have a camera on you to make sure.
A lot of pressure.
I know, but you are up to it. You're equal to the pressure.
I will certainly try.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Raymond Mays, I'm so glad to see you because you're my very favorite photographer, and you know all kinds of people have your work. I was very much amazed to see that you are so well received. I knew you were a great photographer, and I knew I liked your work. But you have photographed everybody that matters.
Well, Dr. Peace, I've just been blessed, I guess, and I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, I've been in the right place at the right time. People have enjoyed my images. I've enjoyed, creating images of a variety types, so forth, jazz images and flowers.
Some of the people that the viewers would recognize as images that you've done.
Well,
besides Oscar Brown Jr.
Well, I was going to say him first. You're right. The Renaissance. I call him the Renaissance man. It's actually 2 images I have exhibited in a variety of different venues. But in addition to him, also Dee Alexander, who is, I call her a Renaissance woman. Yeah, I am a personal photographer, and I have been for about a year now. But Dee Alexander, we're talking about Mendai, the bassman hands, which is on exhibit today as part of this auction. And there's been a variety of different artists. Malachi Thompson, Harrison Bankhead, Von Freeman, Fred Anderson, who owns the Velvet Lounge, which in fact is one of the top 10 to 15 jazz venues in the world, by the way. Here in Chicago, Illinois. I got to plug that.
You do a little research.
Got to plug that one,
yeah. Okay.
And just on and on. Dennis Winslet, who is a very young, emerging jazz artist, 25 years old, out of Kansas City, who performs down at the Velvet Lounge. Also, he's a part of Urban Gateways. Kobe Watkins. I can just go on and on and on. Just a lot of,
How long you been doing this? Going on and on and on.
Well, actually, I started photography when I was in college, undergraduate school at Lincoln University of Missouri, from the influence of Dr. Nathan Cook, who was actually a cell biologist, who I took several courses from, and a friend of mine named Carl Chamberlain, who was a photographer as well as a journalism and art major. And my first exhibit was, in fact, in Lincoln University back in 1970-something, maybe 73, 74, maybe a little later than that. And, I put it down for a while, and I came back to it kind of with a renewed passion, so to speak. And so I've been, like I said, very fortunate the past few years in several galleries in the Chicagoland area, and I have several series that I'm working on. One is kind of a combination of, we talked about before, merging the clinical sciences with the photographic arts from some research I was involved with Dr. Bell years ago, where I'm actually portraying or exhibiting images called states of consciousness, where I'm merging the states of consciousness clinical work and now exhibiting or depicting it through the photographic lens. So that's one exhibit. The exhibit that Nicole has fallen in love with, which is probably my first passion, is nature photography, where I'm doing a series called Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants. It's kind of take off from Stevie Wonder's album years ago.
I love it.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to exhibit plants.
When are we going to be able to see some of that?
Well, one of those pieces on exhibit here today.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It's called
show?
Yeah, it's called Translucence.
Oh, so you're contributing to my non-for-profit organization?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Raymond,
yes,
thank you so
Absolutely.
much. I didn't know you were.
Yes,
yes. I'm so pleased.
Yeah, the Secret Life of Plants series is going fairly well.
What's the next show?
Well, the next show, let's see. I'm in an exhibit next week. There's been like 2 or 3 shows the past 2 weeks, so I'm kind of.
Are you coming to the South Shore Cultural Center?
Oh yeah, the Chicago Renaissance.
July?
Yeah, the July 26th, 27th, 28th.
The
Raw
okay.
exhibit. Yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'll be featured in Nicole's gallery for that particular exhibit.
Okay.
Myself, Alan Stringfellow, and I think one other artist.
All right. Well, yay.
So I'm having fun, Dr. Peace, and passion's flowing, and I really appreciate you you covering all these events. I mean, you're just out everywhere.
Look, I'm an advocate for art, for artists, and for the underserved. That's our goal. That's our mission statement.
So we have a wonderful collaboration going.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Raymond.
Thank you very much for having me speak about some of my work, and just continue to support us, and we'll support you, and we'll just all have fun, and hopefully we can institutionalize this legacy for the next generations and generations and generations to come.
All right.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Sure.
All right.
I am here with Deborah Hand, multimedia artist, and you know why I'm so thrilled? Because I don't get to talk to her or see her except in these venues. So I'm very happy to just stand and listen to the sound of her voice, which I have missed mightily over the last few weeks. I think it's because she has been busy working on a lot of things, and I want her to tell me what those things are that keep her from communicating with the outside world.
Well, I'm working on so many things. I really can't. I actually don't know what it is that I'm doing next. I think I have something at Puzzles tomorrow, and I must have about 6 events coming up in the next week or so. I have a show at Blackie's on the 21st of June. I'm involved with an auction with HRDI, the Seeds of Africa benefit and tribute to outstanding leadership. Yes, it is on the 21st as well. So I'm doubling up on things as well. And as you know, the event here tonight to try to raise money to support the H3O Art of Life television show.
Thank you very much. Don't look at me all telling.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the H3O Art of Life television show is sponsored by OmniU, and this benefit is, in part of the proceeds will go to OmniU, which then, of course, is able to advocate for art and for artists and for the underserved. So we are very happy. You have a piece in the show this evening?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, we're very, is it anyone I would recognize?
Oh, it's a new piece, but you recognize the style. She has a new hairdo.
Is this one of the Kimi girls?
It's one of the Kimi girls, yeah.
Okay,
it's a collection of girls that I introduced recently, which are doing extremely well, I must say. There's actually a waiting list for them already, so hopefully the piece will do well tonight.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to know why it is I haven't been able to talk to you, and I'm glad to know that you have been so productive and that you have so much before you, because I know that the great love of your life is art, and to be able to work, to know where your work is going, what you're doing, and to be able to actually, I guess, commit and devote yourself the way that you have in the past, and to be able to well, I don't know. How do you feel about just not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel?
You know what? I actually, right now, I am overcommitted because I had no idea, how the work would be received so well. And so I just, and also because I, tend to have a big heart when it comes to humanitarian causes or causes that are designed to enlighten the lives of others. And so I end up getting involved in a lot of charitable events, and once you commit, you can't ever go back, regardless of the commissions or the other work lining up. You can't go back and say you're not going to do it. You certainly can't. So those are the things I think that keep me busy, but at the same token, I also have to try to earn a living at this, and so I'm trying to juggle between the two. Another event I think on June the 24th will be with the Martin Luther King Junior Boys Club at the Cog Hill Golf Course in Lamont, Illinois. They just, as I'm standing here, I'm thinking of 3 or 4 more things, but one foot in front of the other, and I seem to be making it, and the art is doing well for these organizations. So I'm grateful that I'm in a position that I can even think about how to do it. And really that's what keeps me going. When I get too tired, I just, I say, well, thank you, God, that I can even begin to figure out how to do this. So,
well, I tell you, you share a lot in common with all of the other artists I've interviewed today. All of them are contributors to worthy causes. and all of them are very successful artists. So that it seems that it goes together.
Right.
And when you are successful and you are also humanitarian, that your success increases.
I'm sure that's been the case all of my life. So I'm sure that principle is intact, and you know, with my endeavors in the art.
Well, it's good to see you again, Deborah.
Thank you.
We'll be coming to some of your other shows. You have one right now at the South Shore Cultural Center.
Right. I have an exhibit that is ongoing until July the 5th.
All right.
And Jason E. Jones is a part of that show. G.L. Smothers and Mitch Melson. And the work in that exhibit is outstanding. It really is something to look at. I'm so proud of the caliber of artists that I've been able to that I've become aligned with in these endeavors. And I have to say that, you know, I'm not an exception to our other artists when it comes to charitable causes. I think we all have become so close because we all bump into each other at these various affairs where we're trying to use the work of our hands to help with humanitarian causes. So, you know, there's a very generous community of artists in Chicago. Melvin King. I mean, and you can look and see here tonight at the turnout at this event and the caliber of art here that, you know, artists are very generous. And also Nicole, of Nicole Gallery, which is where we are tonight. She's just been outstanding, an outstanding supporter of artists and of putting beauty into the world.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah Han. I'm so happy to have seen you this evening.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you again soon.
All righty.
All right, let's show that piece. Huh? Is this a request, I hope? It is. Painting by whom? Number 22. All right, hold it up high. Tell us about this, Nicole.
Painting is an oil painting by Akinola Samuel.
Is this a famous artist?
It's a famous artist, really very well known. He's a teacher of art. We began working in 1997 and it's been a real successful.
I am here at Nicole Gallery. As you already know, we're here for a benefit of sorts. Part of the proceeds are going to OmniU. And I happen to have one of the OmniU advisory board members with me. He's attorney Lawrence E. Kennan. And I thought I would ask him to say some words of wisdom, but not before I acknowledge that I also have Leanne Caston here with me. And she's a very famous journalist and an all-around good person who does a lot of good things for a lot of good causes. So I thought we would spend a little time finding out not only what Lawrence Kennan thinks of the organization that he has been supporting for these years, all of these years, but what Leanne Caston thinks of the work that she does and the support that she gets. You may speak.
Well, thank you. I'm very delighted to be here. and it's always a pleasure to be anywhere where Dr. Peace is. I have been associated with OmniU since its inception, and it is such a broad-based organization, excuse me, and I just finished eating in case there's anything left over. It deals so much with what is essential for life, health food, the cerebral, the physical, the art, the spiritual, so that it gives me an opportunity to have another dimension of my life into which she invades from time to time. We're at now Nicole's gallery, where there is just fantastic art, fantastic people, and to have an opportunity to both converse with them and a chance to see Dr. Peace and get some of her wisdom. She is so multi-talented herself that she does not only shows like this and writing and counseling and advising me on how to eat and making me look younger than I am and healthier than I am. Inside it's horrible. But anyway, I am really happy to be able to have an organization like this recognize OmniU and to contribute to it, because we do need money, as does all of the other good organizations. We were just discussing another one that is in need of money, a civil rights group. But the arts are such an integral part of the real quality of life. And we see that as we come here. We see it as we go to the other places where Gloria brings out the good life, the good living, and makes us all happy to be around it.
Thank you so much, Lawrence C. Kennan, and I just want the audience to know that that was another of the paid political advertisements, all of that praise that Attorney Kennan was heaping on me. But OmniU is all that he says it is, and we are very proud of our organization. Now, Leanne Caston does a lot of things. She wears a lot of hats. Talk about your hats.
Let's talk first about food hats, okay? At this point in our lives, my friends, we are in need of serious reflection about what we're eating, and it's time most of us find out exactly what is in the food supply, because we are no longer being protected by our environmental agencies, and I think we all have to know that. The other part that really is on my agenda very seriously is the co-option of corporations and the press. So we've got to talk about how the press today fails to deliver important information that we need in order to make informed decisions about this democracy. And Larry Ken and I were also just talking about what happened to our civil liberties. Well, guys, under John Ashcroft, much is happening to our civil liberties, and most of it is very bad. And so we've got a lot of fighting to do. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We've got a lot of information to get. We've got a lot of good food that we have to start eating. Good food that is essential for our lives and our children. Food that will be able to sustain us for another few more generations. And if we knew how much cancer there is and how much food is contributing to our cancer because the food is adulterated, then we would become very angry. So while we've got arts here, we've got civil liberties here, we've got health here, we've got media here, we've got a lot of issues that we've got to start dealing with.
Well, yes, since she brought up civil liberties, there's also civil rights, and police brutality is getting more and more an urgent problem in our community, and the outrage about it is really building up, so that I also am working against police oppression of the community, and particularly the black community. So even though the art is one side of my life, my true passion, as much as I love art, is to fight against injustice. So as we go, regardless of whatever else we are doing, we can't ignore the fact that outside these doors there rages the kinds of inhumanity to man that is exhibited by our criminal justice system, by our court system, and those things that we must do to continue the good life.
I think you've been on television before, because you know a wrap-up when you see one. Thank you so much, Attorney Lawrence Kennan and Leanne Caston, journalist, author, activist, and an all-around good person, for coming to the TV screen with some very good information. And certainly, you know, I will be inviting you back as a guest to talk about some of these issues, along with Attorney Lawrence Kennan, whom I should have known that you knew. So thank you very much, both of you, and I'll see you in the studio soon. Okay, all right. Here's Ayoka. Isn't that a wonderful introduction? This is Ayoka Bohini. She is the co-host of OmniU Presents the H3O Art of Life television show. And today she says she's chilling. She picked a nice place to chill. This is Nicole Gallery, and we're down here on Huron. At an auction, and there's just fabulous work. Well, a lot of it is no longer here because it has been bought by people who are here tonight, but at any rate, the co-host is here, and she knows that it's a benefit for OmniU, and she is the director of OmniU. She's a co-director, and so I want her to say something nice about OmniU.
Well, OmniU, I remember when it first got started, I was always so excited about the events that we would be able to bring to the community. OmniU has done so much to bring health awareness, really, truly, you know, some wonderful, amazing events. We've had so many luminaries come and give workshops, and now we've delved into the art world, and we are trying to give a voice and a venue to artists, and so I'm always so excited because we're always evolving and reaching out even further, you know, and extending our boundaries even further to bring in more exciting information and more exciting culture and things like that to the community.
Are you excited about our event for August?
Yes, I am excited. Affair of the Arts.
Yeah.
That is so cute. That's so cute. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. That one's going to be really great. Going to have wonderful food. It's going to be a beautiful venue for arts. It's going to be really classy and wonderful. Going to have some fabulous artists as usual, and that's going to be a great one. It's going to be out in Olympia, and I guess you can contact us and we can give you some more information about what you can expect to see there and where that will be exactly. So we would hope to see you there.
I guess we should give them our telephone number. 773-317-0745.
Yes.
Repeat, 773-317-0745. We probably will find a way to put this up on our billboard and so that you would have access to it all the time. But we will continue to take you out on dates. We will continue to bring you the best program that we can find. We advocate for the arts, for the artists, and for the underserved. And we focus on history and culture, health and nutrition, and hopefully we are doing a service that you will benefit from. And certainly we are very happy to be supported by Nicole Gallery, who is having this auction here, and a part of the proceeds will go to us to carry on this work. And this is just so special. We are so grateful to Nicole Smith of Nicole Gallery, and we're grateful for all of our viewers and our supporters, and we're even grateful for our cameraman, Ms. Keith McDonald, because he always covers our shows like it's a work, like his work is a work of art. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and keep on watching the show.
Fridays,
8:30.
Yep, Channel 19.
And Sundays it repeats what time?
3:30, Channel 19.
All right, so keep watching, and when you hear us announce events, definitely come out to the events. We love to meet you, love to see you, and we always go to some really wonderful places and meet some really wonderful people. So come on out as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hotep.
Hi, I'm so glad that you can join us again for another installment of H3O, The Art of Life. We're going to bring to you a terrific show today. It's going to be awesome. We are bringing to you a celebration of Women's History Month at Nicole Gallery called Consciousness and Conditions, and there are 16 fabulous women artists that we're going to be introducing you to, and you're going to be seeing their works, and it's just going to be exciting. So tune in, stay tuned for the hour, and I cannot wait to bring you some of the most amazing work that you will see in your life, like these pieces that I'm standing by the artist Deborah Hand. Some of you know Waiting to Dance. She'll be joining us later on in the program, so stay tuned. We're here with Cassandra Faye Smith, and we're going to take a look at this amazing work, Emancipation, and talk about the concept behind it and how she does what she does. This is incredible. Like she says, she builds dollhouses and creates miniatures. And this is a real historical piece. You can tell us right here.
These are, sometimes I call obsessively detailed historical pieces.
Absolutely.
And what I've done during the Works Project administration in the 1930s, people went around to interview, or the U.S. government went around to interview ex-slaves. And these people were in their 90s to 110 years old. And the interviews have been hidden in the archives for the better part of 50 or 60 years. And I realized that every slave interview, they had at least one sentence of what they were doing when they learned they were free. The only problem, there are about 3,000 interviews to read. So I've systematically been going through the interviews one by one to find that one sentence of where each person was when they learned they were free. Wow. And it's really interesting. There's one doll on the side over here, on the other side.
We'll come around. Is it right here?
One right here.
Okay, we'll take a look at that.
Okay. It's the one right here on the bottom. Every day I have a new favorite doll, but this one is my favorite today. And the quote in the person's narrative I thought was really interesting. It's, "When peace was declared, I was on the auction block with my mother." And I think that one sentence tells such a big, powerful story. I mean, the way my work is very much like a photograph. It's a snapshot in time. And I give you the sentence, and you, the viewer, in your own mind, put together the story of what happened before and then what happens immediately after.
Right, it kind of transports you in time.
It transports you in time. And it also, because these are the words of the real people, it makes you, the real words are much better than I could ever imagine the words to be. And so, and there's several other, there's another great doll on the other side where the house slave worked in the house, and so she knew about emancipation many days before everyone else did.
Is it the doll all the way to the left?
Right, all the way to the side here.
Okay.
The one in black and white.
Okay.
And as you can see, she's dressed in the traditional costume of the house slave, but in her case, she was supposed not to tell anyone that emancipation had happened, but what she did apparently, she went to the quarters, she told everyone that they were free, but they had to promise not to say anything so their master and mistress wouldn't get mad. So I can imagine these couple of weeks where everyone knew, but they were pretending they didn't know. Right. And one of the things that I like to do in my work is to show that many of the things people think they know about slavery aren't really true. This thing that the house slaves and the field slaves didn't communicate is crazy, because your children may have been working in the fields and you worked in the house, and there were only maybe 3 to 5 people working in the house at any given moment. So it was part of a larger community. So the house slaves would learn information, and then they would pass it on to everyone else, and then that's how the community was always built. So I thought that was a really very interesting doll and quote as well. And then there's another quote here. I think I'll pick it up so I can read it exactly.
Okay.
This particular narrative, the person tells about an old man with a white beard that was saying there's one day coming that slaves will only be slaves to God. But then the slave says, we prayed for the end of tribulation and for the end of beatings and for shoes that fit our feet. We prayed for us that could have all we wanted to eat and special for fresh meat. I mean, that's so straightforward. Wow. For the end of beatings and for shoes that fit our feet. And
the basics.
The basics, right.
You know, right. But it's so serious. You know, this is an outstanding work, very detailed, and you just have all the details so correct. You know, you feel like you know these people, and you feel like you know the child on her back, and you know what I'm saying?
Well, for one thing, what I did is I spent a lot of time reading the narratives for finding the descriptions of people's clothing. And then there are a few artists and photographers took pictures of slaves, just as you would take a picture of a beautiful horse. I mean, they weren't thinking of them as people.
Right.
But that shows exactly how they dressed and the aesthetic of their clothing. Like if you notice with a lot of my dolls, they're dressed not the way we would today, with clothes matching.
Right.
Okay, and this is really hard for a 20th century person to put together patterns that didn't match.
Right.
But I realized in the slave aesthetic,
that's the way it was.
That's the way. Well, they were cast-offs, but there was also this aesthetic of putting together multiple colors and multiple fabrics.
Perhaps like a carryover from Africa.
I think it was closer, and then now we've become sometimes matchy-matchy, that we think all of our clothes should match. But really, the slaves had a different aesthetic. So that's been something else that I've worked really hard to represent, the colors and the way that we would have worn clothing. And the other thing that's really fun, and I use the word fun because it hasn't been that long since slavery was over. So we're really the same people now as we were 150 years ago. And when I look at the photographs of slave women, and these are all women that I've represented today, every last one of them is wearing a piece of jewelry. And someone said, well, if we think of how we are today, I can't imagine that 100 years ago we weren't wearing jewelry.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to thank you so much. Your work is incredible. It's important that you brought this part of history in a way that we can see and feel and understand, and you've distilled certain parts so that we get right to the meat of the matter. That's what artists do, and you've done it in an amazing way.
And actually, this is a book I'm working on. Once I finish all 3,000 narratives, the book will be called Emancipation, First-Hand Accounts of the First Days of Slavery. And it's quotes from a couple of hundred people of exactly what they were doing when they realized they were free. And I say the word realize because some of them didn't hear for like months after it had actually happened.
Wow. Cassandra, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good show. Have a great show. Thanks. Have fun. Thank you. This was Cassandra Faye Smith. Again, this work was Emancipation. And we'll take another look at it. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm here with another extraordinary artist in today's show at Nicole Gallery for Women's History Month. And I'm going to introduce you to her. She's Joyce Owens. She's going to tell you a little bit about the works that she has in the show today. And they're so vibrant and beautiful and so full of personality. Could you go with us piece by piece and introduce?
Certainly. Well, I can actually talk about the grouping. These two are ancestor paintings, what I call ancestor paintings, and they have to do with family, my family history and people that my grandmother and my great aunts associated with. The reason I do paintings like this is because I want to try to, through the painting, learn more about them, what they may have been experiencing when they were younger, because I wasn't there at that time. That used to be one of my wishes, that I could experience my mother's lifetime when she was the same age as I was, like when I'm 18 and my mother was 18, and we could do things together, so I could understand what her life was about. And so one of my main themes is the mask, or identities that we don't see. You know, like when you talk to me now, you're talking to me as an interviewer, and you have one face. and when you interact with other people, you have another face. Well, I realize this about all the people that I paint, so I'm always trying to understand who they are under their mask or under the exactly, and that the mysterious part of them that I never experienced. And so I do these paintings. Sometimes my people actually do have masks applied to their faces. The painting down here, which I can pick up too, has a mask that's come off. So she's revealing another layer of herself. It may not be her genuine self. It may be just another. There may be another layer underneath. But I want people to think about the fact that sometimes what they see at first glance may not be all there is to the person. So that's what basically these all are, and maybe you'll get a chance to see some of the other ones when we walk around.
Absolutely. We're going to go on to the rest of your work. There are two pieces to our right that we're going to see. Okay, the paintings that we are seeing here to our left. Sisters Unmasked, the top painting, and the lower painting, herself. And I'm going to let Joyce also, as she so eloquently talk about these works that we're seeing.
These basically are a continuation of the other two. They're part of a series, and in this case I am also painting ancestor paintings. These are my great aunts, and this is another great aunt on the lower painting herself. And again, I'm really trying, I pushed in closer on the picture where you see more of their faces and more of their interaction with each other, and I knew that they were very close. There was a group of them and they were very close. These two especially, plus my grandmother, who's not in this painting. But again, I'm trying to think about what they really were like, what their character was like. So it's pretty much the same thing.
I love it. I love it. We're going to take a look at Joyce's last piece. It's a larger piece than what we've seen so far, quite a bit larger, and on a different vibe, a different feeling.
It's totally different. This is a painting that I started a few years ago.
Okay. This is a remarkable painting, Joyce. This is a painting she's entitled Magic Dance. And again, we will hear from Joyce on this magnificent piece. It's beautiful, so vibrant.
The great thing about being an artist is that we have the option of painting in different styles when we're working on different pieces, and we don't necessarily have to stick to one style. You can see that this one is somewhat different than the other ones that you saw earlier. And basically I change my approach depending on the message that I want to convey or the feelings that I have myself. This one is called Magic Dance, and it's a group of women just experiencing the joy of living every day. The piece that you saw that was on the lower, that we held up, relates more to this one. I've done a series of women who are in sort of an exalted state of energy or exalted period in their lives where they're jumping to the sky, they're reaching for kites. I have paintings at South Shore, that Cultural Center, which opens tomorrow night, which opens another night, and that includes some of this series. But basically, these women started as trees, and then eventually, as I painted them, and eventually they evolved into women, and they evolved into women in this magic bubble, and they evolved into women who were, full of joy and jumping and, just happy. And that was how I felt when I did this one. Thank you.
Well, we are certainly thrilled that you consented to talk to us and meet the audience. Your work is fabulous. If anyone gets a chance to get out to South Shore Cultural Center, her work will also be showing there. I don't know if you can give any dates.
Well, I'm actually at Woman Made Gallery in the month of March for a juried competition. I won first prize, which is a solo show in 2003. The juror for that was Faith Ringgold, who's an internationally known artist. So Woman Made is at 1900 South Prairie Avenue. I'm in a show at South Shore, which opens tomorrow, which is also in honor of Women's Month. But it's a group of sapphire and crystal artists. We're a collective of African-American women artists who have exhibited together for the last 10 or 12 years.
I love it. We've had them on our show.
Yes, right. Right, and some of the women in that show are in this show, and also are also. Nobody's in Woman Me, but in this show in South Shore Cultural Center. I'm in a show also at Scott Forsman Publishing, which is in Glenview, which goes until April, the end of April, and I just finished Black Creativity, a juried exhibition at the Museum of Science and Industry. So it's been a busy time for me.
Well, we can see her many places. She's an award-winning artist, highly established, and one of Nicole's, I call them her children because she fawns over her artists. She's very protective of them and very nurturing to their careers. So thank you so much. Thank you. This beautiful woman that's standing to my left is Sophia Lacroix, a very remarkable artist. Her work is so vivid and lifelike. The piece that you saw that is opening this interview, so fabulous, so full of detail. So we're going to allow her to talk about that piece, but also talk about her career path because it's the most remarkable thing. How she came to decide upon her career, which I really think chose her. She couldn't have done another thing.
At that point, I didn't have a choice. I really didn't have a choice about becoming an artist. I'm the typical island girl with parents who tell you, well, you want to be an artist? Are you kidding? You're going to be a doctor, especially if you excel academically, and I excelled academically.
You're from Haiti?
I'm from Haiti, born and raised, and I migrated to the States when I was 15, and I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship, which is why we moved to the States, because in Haiti we could not have had the opportunities we had. And when I realized that I wanted to become an artist, my parents talked me out of it because they wanted me to get an education with the scholarship I was going to win and get a degree that would allow me to have a decent living, to make a decent living, to have a decent life. No, because in Haiti, artists do not survive because they suffer. So after getting my bachelor's in nutritional sciences, which is a pre-med degree, which unfortunately did not prepare me for anything but grad school or medical school, I did a couple of sketches and I suddenly started painting because I could not suppress it any longer. I felt the need to paint when I was in college, but I knew that if I picked up a brush, I could forget about getting my bachelor's in science. So once I started painting, the more I painted, the better my work got, and next thing you know, I had a style, and I started showing it, and some people bought paintings. One actress, Teresa Randall, bought one of my first nudes.
Teresa Randall, girl big.
Yes.
So many things.
With Spike Lee, she's been in several Spike Lee movies.
Yes. You go on and on. She co-starred next to Wesley Snipes. So
yes,
you have kind of a celebrity clientele going on.
Yes, actually, Bad Boys. She was in Bad Boys, which is how I met her because she was filming Bad Boys in Miami when I saw her and she bought that painting. And when she bought that first painting, I realized that I couldn't make a living as an artist, more or less. And I started painting more and more and selling my work. I was fortunate enough to meet some excellent clients right from the get-go. Dr. Tiss, a Haitian doctor, and his wife, Maryse, and Dr. Marsan, who introduced me to Dr. Tiss. They started collecting my work. They started ordering, and next thing you know, I had a career to my surprise.
I love it.
And it's a blessing because I couldn't imagine not being an artist. I couldn't imagine it.
When we look at your work, we see that you have to do it. You see that this is in her. It was in her from the beginning. You can't learn this. This is something that is given to you. I want to look at this little girl because she's so fabulous. Because we can't stand in front of the piece that we showed at the opening. So we actually stood in front of another artist, Susan Klenoff, I believe it is. Klevenoff. We stood in front of her work. But I want to definitely show you Sophia's work and the depth, the detail. This girl looks like she could step right off the page.